Hi, I'm going to do a Northern Lights photo edit in Darktable. I'm on Darktable 4.6.1 using Ubuntu Studio 24.04, but this should be similar to most of the recent versions and different operation systems. I've done some Northern Lights edit before, but I've used display referred methods mostly, and this one I'm going to use scene referred methods. So that's the more recent way of doing things in Darktable. So first of all, let's change to scene referred. So I'm clicking this button here and workflow scene referred. So first a bit about this image. This is shot with Panasonic Lumix S5 and the lens is the Tokina 11 to 60 mm 2.8. The lens is APS-C, but I'm shooting here at 15 millimeters, so it covers the whole image from 15 to 16, and it does have some issues in the corners of the image, but I like these characteristics more than the flat image that newer lenses and optically more perfect lenses give. So, and as these Northern Lights were quite strong at this moment, I've had the shutter speed at 6 seconds and ISO at 4000. So this is a part of a time lapse that I shot with two S5 cameras from different angles and changed the settings accordingly how powerful the Northern Lights were. So I have several thousands of images from this specific night. So, but let's start the edit. First of all, changing the mosaic. I think it does something, especially with these low light or pictures that are shot with higher ISO. The Lumix S5 is great for low light, but changing this from to the Elements SE, I think it does a bit. The denoising functions better for this. So that's the first thing. And then you can see the difference. I'll show you perhaps. And denoising, I'm using just the profile here as the noise is quite low for 4000 in my camera. But you can see a slight difference here if I change this back to the CD. Yeah. So there's perhaps a bit more of the denoising using the profiled, but it's more grainy. So this, for me, it looks a bit better this with the LMMSE. So, and another thing, shooting low light with these modern cameras, you get hot pixels. So hot pixels on, that takes most of it out, and if you're shooting really high ISOs, you might need to use higher strength and lower threshold in this. But for this, I think it's enough with just clicking it on. And then I think even if I try to get the scene as good as possible, it's really difficult in the dark, and otherwise. So I think we need a bit of rotation. One neat trick is pressing Ctrl as you slide, you get smaller increments instead of the big ones here. So press Ctrl while you move your mouse at the same time. You get better control. I think that's better. A slight difference, yeah. And most of people would probably put lens corrections on for this, but as I said, I like these astigmat, or what's the called, and the character, the natural vignette. So I prefer this rather than having it straight and flat and pointy star always. The stars are great here in the middle, and that's the point with this. So okay, let's continue. Next one is going to be in the color modules, color balance RGB. This tool is absolutely fantastic, but I'm going to do it like it that I have one that I control the upper parts, the sky and the northern lights, and another that controls the lower parts. So first of all, we start with making the mask. So I'm making a mask with this. So it's a drawn mask and a parametric mask. You can control the drawn mask with these parameters then. But first we'll use the gradient mask and about there, and then I'm scrolling on the mouse wheel to get it a bit more round, perhaps something like that, and then now it affects only the, obviously it's good to always test which side it affects, yeah. The upper part, as I was aiming for. So there is the feathering area, this part. You can change it by pressing shift and scrolling with your mouse wheel. So the feathering part is bigger or smaller. So it does not affect here. So we will get the highlights or the sky northern lights first. So I think with this, I think we push down the chroma in the shadows and push up it a bit in the mid-tones and take it down in the highlights. I don't like the extreme green saturation northern lights. I think they are too much, so. But I often use contrasting things when I do these edits, so one tool takes something out and the other puts something back, and that's giving an effect. So I think here we can push the saturation a bit up in an opposite way than here. I think, yeah. So I'm doing the opposite as here. I think I take this down. So, and then I think we'll take the shadows, parts in the brilliance down and pull up the mid-tones. You can see the the lightness levels and histogram here, with also the different color channels. So you can push it like that and a bit in the highlights, so it just is starting to clip there. That's too much. I'm trying to balance, so I have the dark background of the sky, enhancing it with taking out color from it, and then the brilliance, and then pushing the mid tones and highlights a bit. But it depends on how the northern lights is exposed. This was exposed quite not perfectly, but really good. So there's not that much to do here. So okay. Something like a little less color in the highlights. Okay, I think that's for the sky. Now, the great thing, this is a very good thing in Darktable. So I'm just pushing this button and taking a new instance, which makes another color balance RGB, and I'm again making another mask. The same thing here, gradient, but this time I'm switching it around like this, and then I'm again making it a bit more round. Like that. And something like that. And then we'll check that it affects the part we want, yeah, the lower part, and here you can see the feathering part also. So let's take the lower part then differently. So here I think we can push the shadows colors a bit more here, so we can get some more out of the reflections of the northern lights. Here. I don't want them to be too much, so they become more than the northern lights Aurora themselves. So there's balance. I think we can push the shadow brilliance up a bit here, like that. Perhaps take the middle down, so we have some forms in it. I think we can push this up again. Have something like that. So now we have two color balance RGBs here. So for the lower part with mask, and for the higher part, I think we could perhaps feather this lower part a bit. It comes quite pronounced here, so we could feather it with this, perhaps a bit more. pressing shift as I do this. Or otherwise we could use the parametric mask and take out a bit from the highlights part. I think this is the better way to do it. Taking out the effect parametrically here, and some from the shadows also. Yeah, that's looking quite nice. Okay. So to color balance RGBs. That's quite good already. And then I think we'll do some diffuse and sharpen. So I want these black areas, these parts to be a bit more contrasting and sharp. So I'm not really 100% sure how this works, but I think it works as from lightness levels. But you try to do and use your eyes to do things. So I'm just playing around with these. So I try to get more pronounced edges here with this. Perhaps this can be a bit different. So if you put everything in the same direction, they becomes a bit too much, perhaps. So. And this one I think will diffuse. I think it's somewhere in these parts, so it comes a bit softer. Yeah, something like that. And then we'll sharpen so we have more structure in these parts of the northern lights. I think that's quite nice. And these are interesting. I have no idea how this functions, but I try to go through this, and where my eyes and my soul says it functions, there it should be. So that's the grade of scientificality in this thing. But this isn't scientific. This is a creative workflow. You're trying to make something beautiful. So first of all, trying to capture the beauty of our wonderful nature, and then trying to in post-production get the best out of it. So I think that's It does not do that much, but it does something, especially here, and there's some structure there. And I think we can put some overall sharpening still, just or change this part. So I think we'll push up the radius. So I understand this in that way, that radius is more of the image. If the radius is small, it affects only small parts. So if you want some for the whole image, bigger radius and amount down, and if you want some more structure and detail, radius small and amount up. So we'll just want a bit. So I'm taking the amount down from the original and radius going up. So just slight push in there. I think that's quite nice. So I'm quite happy with this. I don't think it's. I could do some colored zones and okay, I don't think we'll put some more saturation in these colors so they come up a bit more from there. See if we get more of the reds. Do that much. Perhaps if we take down these parts so that they become more pronounced if we lower the lightness of I prefer the more natural way. Perhaps this could help a bit. Just a tiny bit stronger, these red ones, blue ones. Okay, so that was quite quick. Northern Lights edit using scene referred workflow. All the display referred ones, I'm using a lot more tools and fine tuning a lot more, but perhaps these shorter ones are better. I could do a whole lot more with this, but I think it's good enough. So yeah, that's it. Thanks and enjoy. Go out and look at stars and do astrophotography. So it's wonderful.